Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm Marika Vita, owner of the Mom Som, longtime sommelier and big fan of promoting women in wine. So today it is such an honor for me to be able to host lunch with Alsace, one of my favorite regions, with one of my favorite producers and favorite ladies. Fellow mom in the business, and as I've been discovering, Séverine Schlumberger has a very fascinating background. She actually worked in hospitality for many years, so excited to bring her on. She's seventh generation of Domaine Schlumberger in Alsace, and I just a couple points on Alsace from my standpoint. I love this region. Had the great honor of going there in 2016 on a Wines of Alsace trip where I got to meet Séverine. And here's the deal. If you're a white wine drinker and you're not drinking Alsatian wines, you better change that picture. Offers the most diversity, okay? Smallest wine region in France, but the most diversity in whites and the best value. Furthermore, they have given more to land than any other region in France. They have the most organic and biodynamic vineyards, okay? So we've got lots to learn from Séverine. I'm going to bring her on because I see her. Noon my time, 6 p.m. in Alsace. Séverine, bonjour
Hello.
Séverine. Bonjour mon ami, comment ça va?
Very good. How are you?
I'm very, very well. How are you?
I'm good. I've got Pocket with me, who's going to be my tasting assistant today.
Oh, pocket.
Well,
I can't bring Kobe in because it will be destruction if I bring him in. But I am fellow dog lover, as are you, and I love seeing Pocket. Welcome everybody. Got a lot of people coming on. Excited, so excited to see you. It looks beautiful there. Is it a nice day?
fantastic day. It's spring in Alsace. It's wonderful.
Everything in Alsace is wonderful,
Yeah.
right? So here's what I want to do, Severine. I want to start with really talking about your domain. Can you, and I know you have a long history, started in 1810, you're seventh generation, so we'll need the abbreviated version for sure, but take us through.
So Domaine Schlumberger, as you mentioned, was born in the family in 1810. Thomas, my brother, and myself are the seventh generation in charge, and it happens to be the largest privately owned estate in Alsace by far. It's 130 hectares. Now, 130 hectares, I don't know in miles, but it makes a bit more than 800 kilometers. So you literally go from Alsace to Brittany. You cross France to cover all the row of vineyard that we have. So that's part of the challenge. And it has the luxury of it is 55% of the estate is Grand Cru classified. So we had a lot of vineyard under Grand Cru classification, and we are in the farming process of making wine, not the industrial process. So it's a lot of farmer common sense and a lot of farming in general, a traditional way of winemaking in Alsace.
So I love how you say we're in the farming business, okay? Because this is really important. I think particularly now, as your family through the generations has definitely seen the industrial period and all the damage we did across the world to the land, and now kind of coming full circle, giving back. How important is that to you and Domaine Schlumberger?
Well, for us, being farmers has never changed. I'm just thinking that I might be fashionable at finally, because the fashion keeps going. I'm never on. When you're in a state, you don't buy grapes, you don't buy juice. So when you're in a state, I keep saying we're not magician, we're not technician, we are fruit producer. So the base of a job is to grow the best possible fruit.
I love it. I love it. And before we start talking specifically about some of the wines. Oh, and by the way, I just have to say this to everybody that's on. I watched one of your YouTubes, Severine. I think it was with the wine club. It was a Zoom. Anyway, anybody want to learn the basics, understanding grapes of Alsace, understanding the vineyards. If you want an introductory that is just fascinatingly taught, go on YouTube and watch Severine do this. Oh, the baby,
My
one of the
nephew just,
twins.
no, that's my nephew who just came back from
You.
kindergarten.
Oh my God, he's beautiful.
He's just very curious about what's going on in the garden.
Yes, I'm sure. Welcome. What's his name?
Jules.
Jula. Oh, that's beautiful.
Je fais coucou.
Bonjour,
Coucou.
bonjour, Jula. Coucou. Oh my God, little
Great.
baby.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no, it's all good. Mine are big, and I love watching. I love seeing little kids. It makes me very happy these days. So, I want to talk about you for a couple minutes because I was reading through your bio, and I love your background. I love the concept of being from this really historic estate, but your father understanding, your parents understanding, hey, go out and see if this is really what you want to do. So you have kind of an interesting trajectory. Take us through what you did after you finished college.
Yeah, well, my parents, my dad used to say, do something else. And he was quite clever because the more you tell a kid to do something else, the more he wants to do the opposite. So, but so I studied law. I worked for a notary for 1 year, and I realized that this was not for me. So I took 2 suitcases to England when I didn't speak a word of English. So I
Love
ended
it.
up in the restaurants business. And I did restaurants for 4 years. And at the end, I was managing a restaurant, which was a fantastic experience when it comes to customer service. And
Hmm.
you learn so much by doing this job. And one day, my dad called and said, I'm going to retire. Do you want to come into the family business? And I said, are you sure you're going to retire? Because we're not going to work together. And he did. So I started here and I did pretty much every job in the company to learn from scratch. So it's pretty much like me, like I can learn pretty easily no matter where I end up. I just find my way around.
I love it. I love that. Again, you mentioned being in hospitality. Having that knowledge and owning a winery is huge because
Absolutely.
you know exactly who you're selling to and how challenging it is to run a wine program in a restaurant, right? And this is really important stuff because
Yeah.
knowing your consumer intimately, if you will. This was when your dad retired. This was 2001, correct? So
Yes.
you're 21 years in. That's a lot of experience. And then when Thomas joined you in 2010,
Yeah.
okay. So tell us what you do now.
So Thomas took the chairman position in 2017. I didn't want it because I often says if something goes wrong, he's the one going to jail, not me. Um, and we are very complementary. So Thomas is more looking after the production, and I'm doing the sales in all of Europe. My uncle is going to give me slowly the Asian market. I'll do communication. I'll do wherever they need me.
Yeah.
I'm very very flexible. Mainly, I'm doing sales, export
Hmm.
sales, but I can go anywhere it's requested or helping. And that's part of being in a family business. You're
Yeah.
in whenever they need you.
Yep. Yeah, you do it all, but it's not surprising to me though that you are the key to communications and sales. That that works. That's
Makes
that's where
sense.
you should be for sure. I want to talk a little bit about Severine. When I was there in 2016, I got to meet so many female winery owners and winemakers, and my perception was that Alsace is really strong with women in wine in general, and the acceptance of that, and the sisterhood. I felt there was great bonding going on there. Tell us from your perspective.
Well, personally, I grew up with 3 brothers, so working in a male environment was not so much of a problem. I had quite a bit of experience before. But no, you're right. In general, it's quite surprising because Alsace is a very traditional region. It really sits on its tradition and especially into wine. But I guess on the other part, it's very more open. It's not like Bordeaux, where there is tradition plus aristocracy. Alsace is more casual. It's more family. So the fact that you're a man or a woman, it really doesn't, I don't think it matters a lot as long as a family member is taking over the business, you know, and the woman has performed extremely well. The reluctant producer about women realized that being a woman in this business was a real asset.
Hmm.
So you know, it's definitely worse. For us, it's perfect because we are a man and a woman, very
Yeah.
complementary, and we
Hmm.
can. So that's the perfect setting. And of course, we go on extremely well as female colleagues for sure, because we are probably understand each other better. We have the same, you know, there is lots on women's shoulders in every job. Every job,
Yep.
you have your job, but you have your motherhood, your family, your house, and everything to look after. So I guess there is more friendship naturally between women in that
Hmm.
case. But in general, between growers in Alsace, there is a lot of friendship. We are very much, we are working together rather than against each other.
Yeah, which is key. And I think, I also think you brought up like it's a traditional region, but it's not traditional like Bordeaux with the aristocracy. I like this comparison, but I also think this probably has a lot to do with your history as a region. Um,
Yes.
Arguably being most French, in my opinion, out of France because you had to fight for it so hard, right?
Absolutely,
Tell
absolutely.
us a little bit about that, just like a little bit about like the history of Alsace.
Yeah, well, Alsace in 1871 became German for 50 years. Alsatian producers were not allowed to make wine in bottles. That was for the German because it means quality. We are only allowed to produce big barrels of wine for the German military people. In that period of time, we had phylloxera and then First World War. So literally in 1919, there were only women left. So this is also probably why in this
Love it.
area women's work is really appreciated and valuable because we had only women left in 1919 and only women left again in 1945 because this region was really at the first spot of the war. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
very, so a lot of men died. So I guess women's value has been probably more noticed in a longer period of time than in other regions of France.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is just such a key point, right? And looking at it's just a fascinating history. And I want to now segue into because we've got these three beautiful wines
Mm-hmm.
here. And but before we get into tasting, we have one of your Grand Crus. And by the way, I loved your explanation. You do this explanation on that YouTube of the Grand Crus. And with the Sarin, we have the Diplomat, you call it,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Okay, and I think there's a lot of mystique still, Severine, with Grand Cru status in Alsace, and really, what does it mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
Grand Cru is different in every region. So maybe take us through that a little bit, and then we'll get into what we're tasting here.
Yes. So at Schlumberger, we have, as I said, 4 different Grand Crus. As I have 3 brothers, I always compare the 4 Grand Cru. It's like 4 children born in the same family, same education, but different personality. And our job as wine producer is to bring that fantastic personality into your glass. So to go a step further, it's the Grand Cru is a specific piece of land in the vineyard that, due to the soil characteristic, is known to make higher quality wine. It's like in your garden, you know, you have that specific spot with the sun exposure that produce fantastic tomatoes, and you're never gonna change it. So it's the value of the geological ground that makes higher quality wines. So that basically what a Grand Cru means. So literally in your glass, what happens is that it's a wine that keeps your company longer, that brings lots of flavors. It's going to stay with you on and on and on and on. And this wine is going to tell you a full story. You have this wine with the meal, and it opens up and it opens up, and it brings you a lot of his history and where it comes from.
So really important point of this is that I love your analogy with the children, like they're raised the same way, but different personalities. So in this case, we're looking at terroir.
Hmm.
And Sarah, you correct me if I'm wrong, right? Is limestone?
Yeah, absolutely. Good
So
memory.
it's stunning wine. And we have the 2017 here. Tell us what the limestone does for this wine, and when would
So,
you drink this?
okay, the limestone soil is what in Alsace we like to classify the different terroirs either in the horizontal category or the vertical category. So you have terroir with like serine. When you taste it, it goes around your mouth. It covers your mouth that direction, and it has a saltiness. And the limestone we feel at Schlumberger that is really terroir appropriate for Riesling. It could be appropriate for Pinot Gris or Gewürz, but from our experience from the past, the very best result we get on the soil is Riesling. And also Pinot Noir, which is not Grand Cru, but the Pinot Noir is also on limestone.
Okay.
When, if I compare to another Grand Cru, which is called Quiterle, we have, this is the opposite. It's vertical. It's smoky, mineral, deep. It goes deep down in your throat. So it's very, that strong minerality and sharpness. So this is the style, and it's really the terroir that brings the different style of, so if you want, the serine is the kid that is very friendly, goes to see everybody. I am there. I'm the nice guy. The Kitali will be the shy, restrained, that takes a lot of time to observe before it opens up to who is got in front of
Love
him.
it. Yeah, like still rivers run deep, right? A lot
Yes,
going
yes.
on there. Uh, so hence the nickname, the diplomat. And would
Because,
you say, sorry, go ahead.
no, as I was saying, if you never tasted Riesling in your life, you grab serine, everybody's going to be happy with it. Because that's why the diplomat is it's very nice and well behaved with everybody. When the Kitali, you need to have a bit of understanding of Riesling before grabbing a glass of Kitali.
Got it. And you need to wait a little while.
Yes.
You need to wait a little bit longer. So, in terms of selling Grand Cru and understanding when is the best time to drink it, I think this is really key because maybe more with Pinot Gris, which I know we don't have today, because I know that can be really tricky for people understanding
Yeah.
Grand Cru Pinot Gris. But give us a little bit of how would you promote Grand
Mm.
Cru to a restaurant?
So Pinot Gris Grand Cru and Gewürz Grand Cru are very specific because they are rather sweet. So if they have a bit of age, what happened with the aging, the alcohol eats the sugar. So the sugar perception that can be really strong on a young Grand Cru Pinot Gris or Gewürz
Mm-hmm.
settle down with the years. So this is why at Schlumberger we try to lay back vintages on those wines. So the balance is better over the years. The Riesling Grand Cru is whenever you need a dry white wine for food, you can grab Riesling like you will grab Chablis or Sancerre or Pinot
Mm-hmm.
Grigio or God knows what. So it's the perfect wine for food, and you have to understand that this wine highlight with food. So if you like it by itself, you're gonna like it 10 times better with food.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it shows its best. Now, in terms of aging, I'll guarantee a Grand Cru 15 years, and I'm
Okay.
supposed to be here in 15 years. Um, what happened with the aging is if you drink a Riesling Grand Cru from the 21 vintage, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to drink a very nice Riesling. If you drink a Riesling Grand Cru from 2012, you're going to drink the terroir more than the grape variety. Because in
Okay.
the bottle, the terroir
Interesting.
takes over from the grape. So
I
you
love it.
still have the Riesling, but you will have more. The Sering 17 with 5 years of age. I'm currently selling the 19 at the winery. I have more Sering in this glass now than with the 19 because the
Got it.
terroir has been taking over. So the personality of the wine comes stronger with age.
Now, this is something I know that again I either read or watched you speaking about. The important thing to remember here is that all of these wines are vinified exactly the same way, correct? So,
Absolutely.
what a great way to educate yourself on terroir, right? I
Yes.
mean, handling something exactly the same way and really getting such different results. Um, it's a great, it's just a wonderful way to. I don't think there's a better region in the world to educate
Yeah.
yourself with on that. And I messed up. I went right to Grand Cru on you, but I know we were supposed to taste the Pinot first. But
We can do it last.
hey,
Don't worry. We can do.
you want to do it last? So should we do Blanc
It's up to
now?
you.
We'll
Yeah,
do
it's up
Blanc.
to you.
Let's do
Yeah.
Blanc.
So we keep with the Riesling Saring. Now, all the wine have the same vinification, and for us, it's really about the fruit. The beauty of Alsace, it's the only region in France that goes by grape variety. Everywhere else they blend. When you blend, you can correct quite a bit. In Alsace, this is, I'm sorry, I always pronounce it wrong, but this is what I call the jewelry of winemaking.
I love
It's,
it.
you cannot get more precision into winemaking than what you have in Alsace. Being able to highlight one grape variety into a specific terroir, then another one, it's like touching the most amazing diamonds you can see.
Hmm.
So it's yes, it's what I call the optimum precision into winemaking, and it feels in the glass. I mean, if you feel that it's so delicate,
Hmm.
elegant, powerful, it tells you that in the glass.
Well, yeah, and like you said, I like that analogy a lot. I love the jewelry because it's very, very true. You really can't mess up either because you can't fudge anything if you're just dealing with one grape variety, right? So I'll go one step further on you, Severine, because I have an emerald cut and it has to be a better diamond.
Yeah.
Right. So you know you're if you're only having one grape variety, right, you've just got to get it right.
Mm.
And that's very cool. I like that.
This is
I'm stealing that.
This is why a wine grower in Alsace to tell you this is the best vintage ever. It's not easy to say it's a fantastic vintage in Alsace because what Riesling like Gewürz doesn't, the other way around. So you can have a fantastic year on certain fruit and not
Hmm.
so good on some others. But at least you're always happy.
Exactly. At least there's always something. There's something winning,
Exactly.
right? Which is
Yeah.
important if you own a winery. Pretty
Yeah.
important. Let's talk about the Pinot Blanc before we
Yeah.
go to. This is the 2020.
Yeah.
Uh, I love Pinot Blanc. Again, it's to me, it's a grape variety that doesn't get enough love
I
and
agree.
should because it's super approachable and it's rather neutral, so it goes with so many things, which to me I love. And you can drink this on its own. It doesn't have to have
Absolutely.
food, right? So tell
No,
us about it.
yeah, the Pinot Blanc is what I call the summer wine in Alsace. It's the wine you think of when you're on a terrace in the garden like me, by the pool with friends. You have a salad, a quiche, a poke bowl, no matter what food, poof. It's so easy drinking. At the same time, it's got a bit of personality, so it's not a boring company. And I very often recommend restaurants to offer this wine by the glass because, as you mentioned, it's not so well known. So by the bottle, people are not very sure of what they get. Now, this is a fantastic alternative to your classical offers, especially in the US, I feel, of Chardonnay, Sauvignon, Pinot Grigio.
Hmm.
I mean, I am so tired of this when I go and see wine by the glass in a restaurant and even with friends. When you want to give them an alternative to a refreshing, easy drinking glass of white, have a look on Pinot Blanc.
Yeah.
At this time of the year, this is the wine I have in my fridge for what I call the just in case situation.
It's actually it's one of my favorites too. Like it's a staple for me
Yeah, yeah.
because first of all, uh, incredible value.
I say
Um,
pleasure for money, not value for money.
Ex- Love it. Okay,
Yeah.
listen, now I have a
After
whole
four,
page.
after
I have a whole page of lines and analogies from you. You do know that, right? Like I'm going to
well,
be quoting you on 100 things.
after 40 years, you don't take money, value for money, you take pleasure for money.
Pleasure
It's a
for
matter of age.
money. It's so true. So true. I'm changing that. I'm changing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just delightful. And I do think it would be so wonderful to walk into restaurants and be able to have this. And I'm not knocking Pinot Grigio, but let's just admit most of it is, pretty. There are some wonderful ones, but in general, that's not what you're getting by the glass, at least not
Yeah.
in everyday American
Mm.
restaurants. And it would be so lovely to see Pinot Blanc everywhere.
Yeah.
And
But
it
I'm not saying that you have to kick out the others, but it will be a fantastic addition to offer something a bit different. And I've
agreed.
seen so many times it happens to me. We do quite well with by the glass sales in New York, and ladies ordering a glass and say, "Oh, this is fantastic. Let's have a bottle
Yeah.
of that." And you're like, "Yeah."
I totally agree. And then when we talk about a little bit about Alsatian cuisine, because I know there, like I could not stop eating your Munster and just the food. In addition to being such a beautiful, the food, again, this will go with everything,
Yeah.
right? Your choucroute, oh my goodness, I love it. It's playing in the background.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, all the kids are back from school
I love it.
this time.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love seeing that. But
Yeah,
yes, Pinot Blanc,
c'est un
really
bisou.
versatile. Love
Sorry,
it.
we have the twins passing in. Basile vient de l'autre côté.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Attention.
Bonjour les
Hello.
enfants.
Whoop, Phuket.
Goodness. Oh my god. Oh my god. I
Sorry.
love it.
Hello.
It's okay. It's called
There we
family
go.
mayhem. Family. This is all about family.
Okay. Basile, regarde. Yeah, it's the family with
Bonjour.
my nephew in the back. Allez, vous pouvez
Beautiful.
y aller. Sorry, that was a quick interruption back from school.
Love it. It's good to see everybody.
Sorry,
Good
we're
to
good
see
now.
everybody. I love the hugs. Oh my god, in pocket.
And Pocket don't want to be missed, of course.
Of course not. All right, Severine, let's move on to Pinot Noir because this is a very important conversation for Alsace. Since you are now making more Pinot Noir than ever, historically really known as a white wine region, but your Pinot Noir is exemplary. And I think it's really changed the game for Alsace too, because, people that love red wine can now have, a serious option and you're producing more of it. Talk to us about your Pinot Noir.
Well, I have to be honest. In 2001, when I started, I said to everybody, the one I'm not going to sell is Pinot Noir because I don't like it. And 20 years back in Alsace, we were pouring Pinot Noir in the fridge because to put it cold, to hide all the bad effect of
Oh,
Pinot
the
Noir.
flaws.
In the last 10, 15 years, Pinot Noir has tremendously improved in the region. Luckily, the demand has improved at the same time. I think I often say Alsace wine are so appropriate today. If you think of how much plates are lighter today than what they used to be 20 years ago, we eat much lighter today. So Alsace wine are in the perfect spot for today's food. And Pinot Noir is the light red. We use it in Alsace as a summer red. It goes with grilled meat on the barbecue, again, salad, quiche, all sort of, and there is more demand because it's only 13% in alcohol. So I think we have a
Boy.
generation that wants something, is a bit tired of the big, heavy red. When you look at lighter red, like Sancerre red, well, Pinot Noir goes exactly in that picture. So the wine has improved, the demand has grown, the global warming helps to make better Pinot Noir as well. So it's all good on the red.
Yeah, it really is. And I think, we look at Pinot Noir, I often call it the compromise wine because, it's not big in tannin. So if you and your partner, if somebody's having fish and somebody's having steak, this is your way to go. It's not going to offend anything, and you still get a really beautiful glass of red. I also think that having Pinot Noir as an option in Alsace, therefore opens a door to what you originally did with the whites. I think
Yeah,
it's a door opener, and I think that's
absolutely.
going to become really important as time goes on, because I still feel Alsace in general does not get the attention that it deserves. And any way to that, if Pinot Noir is going to help, then I'm all for it, because
Pinot Noir is certainly going to help. Now, guys, I have a news for you. In 2022, you may have heard of the lack of wine in general, the allocation of wines everywhere. The price region like Burgundy have reached. Well, Alsace, as we said, the pleasure for money is huge. The Pinot Noir from Alsace are extremely approachable, as on taste as price wise. And yesterday I was thinking of making a small advertising, because today, with inflation and all what we're going through, you have to wait for absolutely everything. You order a car, they tell you 1 year waiting. You want to do refurbishment, you have 1 year waiting.
mm-hmm.
Every single thing you want to buy or make today, you have to wait because the materials are not there. Now, as wine growers, our job is about waiting. This is the base of a job is to wait that the plant comes
Love it.
along, the fruit grows, and so we are fully prepared and organized for waiting. But because we are so trained for that, the final product in Alsace is available. There is no allocation on Alsace. There is no crazy pricing. So honestly, if you don't look at Alsace in 2022, you're never gonna look at it.
Well said. Listen, no
Comes from the
supply
heart.
chain. Yeah, it comes from there, and no supply chain issues here. You're absolutely correct. We're waiting on everything. There's so much that has happened with COVID, and shortages and things that we never anticipated. So to know that there's something beautiful, readily available, and pleasure for money. See, you've trained me. You've trained me is awesome. I'm going to segue into, because we had that beautiful little interlude with the kids. You had the twins are 11?
Yeah, they're 11. Yeah.
11, great age. So fun. Talk to us a little bit about Severine, because you were, 10 years in, managing the winery, managing the domain when you had your babies. Tell me how that's changed everything for you from a priority
Oh, well,
standpoint.
yeah, having children was the dream of my life. Since I was 6 years old, I wanted children. So there were no way I will live without children. But I basically started building my career. So I was all around the world for 10 years. And then I decided, well, ladies have a date, I call it the date of conception. There is a certain date where you can no longer to have kids,
Yep.
unfortunately for us. So I was getting, thinking, well, that age is getting closer. So I decided to have children. And I had what the British call a bog-off. It's buy one, get one free.
Love it.
And I got really lucky because it's a boy and a girl. So literally, it's the biggest gift I had in my life, and it's the best thing I ever done. And I reorganized a little bit my work because I was working with men, family members. They always request more and more when you work in the family. Well, I've decided that I will work from 8 to 5, and I will pick up the kids, and I started to learn how to say no. And you know what? It works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder
No,
what
it's
I
a good
waited so
word.
long. And you work less but more efficiently, so you actually do better. And it's a very good balance, actually. I always need the balance in my wine. Having kids, it's the balance in your life, and so no, it's fantastic. I will do it every day.
Favorite What's your favorite thing to do as a family?
Uh, what we do more often is walk with the dogs, take the kids for a walk. We try to entertain um, without a park or without fake entertainment. Like we like to entertain ourselves in the nature. You just walk, you find a river,
Beautiful.
you find a stone, and we try, and it's a great time, talking time for us.
Absolutely. And no lack of nature where you
No,
are.
and we no, and we love to. Sometimes you go into nature, we talk about something that we're upset with, and we start shouting like crazy, and it's a real freedom for us, rather than going to somewhere or you pay for, or it's fake entertainment, as I call it.
I love it. It's great. It's so important. I agree with you. We go on a lot of hikes and there's no phones, and you talk a lot.
Mm.
It's a great way to disconnect. I couldn't agree with you more. I want to ask you because you know how much I love Alsatian wines and yours in particular. But when you're not drinking Alsace, what do you like to drink?
I have to say, Marika, I actually uh, barely never drink Schlumberger wines because they are my working tool, and I think there is nothing worse for a wine producer to drink his own wine. You don't learn, you don't open your mind. So eventually, I often taste other Alsatian producer wines, and my favorite wines used to be Burgundy wines,
Hmm.
but I feel they're out of reach. I mean, it's not at a certain level, I don't see the point of putting so much money on a bottle of wine. I mean, you can find pleasure for money wine more reasonable. So I moved a lot to Côte d'Iron, especially the whites in Côte d'Iron that I love.
Yeah. And are you Northern Rhone? Are you Condrieu? Or are you more Chateauneuf de Pape Blanc or both?
Both, I'm north for the red and white for the south.
Okay. Very, very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it would not surprise me at all that coming from a region that where you've got your jewelry, right? Wanting to drink some blends, right? Because Southern Rhone Blanc is all about the art of blending.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a way to learn and get out of your comfort zone. Uh, Severin, I want to ask you this, before we close up. We've had a couple of really challenging years between COVID and the economy and climate change, racial inequality, a war going on between Ukraine and Russia. What would you like to leave us with today? What would give us your pearl of wisdom?
Well, I'm an extremely positive person in general. That's my way of living, and I am very privileged because I am born in a family company that is more than 200 years old. I know wine has been made since the Roman time. So when I hear about all the scary topics about global warming and so on, I'm like, there has been some very cold year in the past. There
Hmm.
has been some very warm year in the past. There has been war. There has been diseases. We have been through all this already, guys. So we are going to go through again. For me, each generation face what they have to face. Um, what might be challenging for us, and I feel part of that, is we are an extremely spoiled generation.
Mm.
We were born at a good time. We never been suffering, so probably we'll have to get down a step a little, for once. But what's the deal? I mean, we have food, we have a roof, we're pretty healthy. I mean, what do we complain about? And I should speak specifically to the French about that. But life is a circle, and we're gonna get through whatever comes up. You just really have to keep positive and think that it has happened to others before, and they've been going through, and uh, just stay simple. I mean, personally, I'm lucky because if I don't have, I can live with nothing. Or if I have money, I spend. If I don't, I do nothing. I mean, I go with whatever comes up.
Love you.
And that's the best way
Yeah.
to be happy in life. And now, if you want to feel better,
Yeah.
think of someone who is born in Europe in 1900
Right. Right.
and go through his life.
Yeah.
And then you feel 10 times better.
Perspective is everything. You are absolutely correct. I cannot wait to see you again. And promise me that when you are
Same.
in the US, you and I will be able to do a dinner together and a class together at the Yale
Promise.
Club. Because I want to give you a big hug, Severine. I think you're fabulous. Cheers to you.
And I'm
Thanks
doing
to
a lot of cheers. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of after COVID hugs now. I hugs everybody.
Absolutely. No, we hug a lot more now. It's needed. It's needed. Again, can't wait to see you. Thank you for your beautiful
Cheers.
wines and
Thank
your
you.
perspective. Thanks to Drink Alsace for letting me host Lunch with Alsace. Please look on the site to check out who's going to be hosting next to learn more about this amazing region and these beautiful people. Ciao,
Cheers.
Bella.
Ciao.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Ciao, ciao.